maybe because I worked down there for so long and I knew so many folks and so many were guests on this show, over the years, looking back at the 9/11 attacks, each year, every year, there are so many stories of that day that hit me, but none I really don't think more than this next one. I think every year I've had the pleasure of having him on my show. I watch him grow older and wiser. He lost his dad on 9/11. And the irony of Rob Fazio losing his dad on 9/11 didn't have to be that way. Ron was one of those who was doing his best to make sure everybody got out. And we found out proof that he had gotten out himself. But he was holding the door open for everyone else to make sure they did. He went back to see that they were okay. And he lost his life. And his son is here. And one of the things I love about Rob and his beautiful family is it's such a touching story. Rob, I remember in the first few weeks or when you didn't know your dad's fate, you would leave out Reese's peanut butter cups.
We would. You know, in very difficult times, sometimes a moment of levity can help you do what you needed to do. And what we need to do is to look for my dad.
And he loved them, right?
He loved them. He had a heart condition, wasn't allowed to eat them. I don't know if you know this, but a lot of people who aren't allowed to eat things actually go ahead and eat them.
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
Right. What was so magical about it, even to this day, you'll go to the memorial site, and oftentimes when I go there, I've been there many, many times, and I'll see your dad, there's oftentimes some Reese's Pieces there, or, you know, a Reese's peanut butter cup. Your daughter, who's all of 2.5 years old, is named Reese.
She's named Reese after my dad, and she loves mozzarella just as much as him.
What about peanut butter or Reese's?
Oh, she loves those too. She actually shared with one yesterday. We went down there and she shared one. She actually didn't leave any behind, so she doesn't know the whole sharing thing yet.
Kind of like your dad.
Kind of like my dad.
But you never gave up. I remember initially there was hope with so many people who left out pictures and signs and notes and anything. But when did you find out for sure he didn't make it?
I remember the moment. It's probably one of the toughest moments in my life. We were in our kitchen, and we had been talking to a lot of people, FBI, firemen, policemen, and they said that there was a chance he could be alive. And the New York Times came out, and they talked about where people were. And I said to my family, I said, and this is where he is. And someone said to me, Rob, he's not there anymore. And we talked to some doctors and realized that after 3 weeks, he wasn't there anymore, and he had passed. And that was a moment I'll always hold dear to my heart, and what really started us focusing on what we're going to do next for him and to honor him. You know,
it had to get your gut when you found out he had in fact gotten out. He was okay.
It did. We knew that he was someone who would always put others first, so it didn't surprise us. And if you think about it, it's such an honor to know in the last moments of his life, he chose to tell people to get out of the South Tower when they were saying to stay in. And he chose to lend his cell phone to a stranger that called his wife. We actually bumped into that woman today. She was reading alongside my niece, Brianna, and she said, thank you. You know, it was the last time her husband got to say I love you to his wife. And just beautiful memories. And now we're really focusing on how through his grandchildren we can create more memories.
What was and you're always so polite and patient with this line of questioning, but I don't know whether I'd be sad or bitter or angry or all of the above, knowing my dad was safe and he put his life on the line as your dad did and died.
It is all the above, and I make a choice, and I choose to feel that way, and then to focus on what I think my dad would want, which is me spending my time and energy on helping people help themselves, as well as enjoying life. I mean,
are you sure you're Italian?
Oh,
no grudge.
I will tell you there's some downside to this whole thing. My mom is no longer allowed to cook Italian meals on September 11th. The meatballs and the sausage bread today, so.
How is the family?
They're doing well, and I think what's beautiful is we're seeing other people step up. My wife today took charge and said, you know what, we're going to ask for a day of giving. And just seeing her with this helper program we do with Hold the Door for Others, using her expertise in communications and helping other people, we're reaching so many more people, and that's what's beautiful about September 11th.
When you go downtown, that's very different for those who haven't seen it since the Freedom Tower went up, and a new station down there. It's become like a tourist mecca beyond just the tragedy, but it's a live, vibrant place, much more so than it was in the days when the Trade Center stood. What do you think your dad would think of it now?
I think he would actually be very pleased with the way New York and New Jersey did the memorial. That's a place where
It's stunning.
it's beautiful.
And you just took your daughter there last night, right?
We took her there last night, and then my wife said, let's go to the museum. So around 5:30, we went to the museum, and that's tougher. You know, it's more raw, but it's real. And I think they did a beautiful job with that as well.
I always think, Rob, and you and I have talked about it, that we all lose loved ones over the years. Many, sadly, have died over the years. But you're reminded of it every year when they show those planes going into the towers and everything else. It's a constant reminder. It can't get easier, but do you just get used to it, or what?
Well, we have to use the wisdom that we learned from our research in helping people. And so what I do is I actually watch videos of September 11th. I prepare for these things. It's not that it doesn't get me emotionally. It's just that I'm ready for it and I expect it. And yeah, it is difficult, but you can't enjoy life if you don't know what suffering is.
Do you remind, I read a statistic, I don't even know if it's accurate, Rob, but something like a quarter of our population now wasn't even born at the time, including my two sons.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, wow, that's amazing. For them, it's just a history lesson. What is it for Reese, for your daughter?
It's so much more than that. I mean, at the museum, she sees my dad's picture and she says, there's Grandpa. And she knows, and she sees firemen and policemen and automatically says they're helping people, no matter where we are in the country. And that's part of my dad's legacy. And that's pretty wonderful if you ask me.
It is. You know, we talk about the thousands who've died since, not only in war, but a lot of those officers and Port Authority workers who've developed all sorts of cancers and ailments since then that eclipse even the number lost, including your dad, that day. It's staggering.
It is staggering, and I'm grateful that there is help. I also think that there needs to be more help for people who are probably hesitant to try to seek help. So we need to figure out a way to touch them. And there's some people that feel too proud or feel guilty to get the help. But it's definitely needed, and I hope more people can reach them, because what they went through and did in many ways is just as bad as what the families of 9/11 went through.
I noticed, and I talked to some over the years, and my production staff has, all the years we've been downtown and since, who are bitter and angry, and rightly so. But I never got a trace of that from you or your family. And I can't understand that, even for a little bit. I never saw it.
Yeah, it didn't hit me. People ask me, are you angry at Osama bin Laden? And I say, I don't know Osama bin Laden, but I know people need help. And that's where we're really going to put our energy. And yes, I never went through that. And it's okay if people do get through that, go through the anger. It's just that we don't want people to stay there. And we want them to use that anger in a positive way and realize that they can live a happy, healthy life and love people again and be connected.
Real quickly, what would your dad think of his son, an author, and an author soon again, and a professor, and a real schmutty pants?
He'd probably tell me to stop talking so much.
Just have a Reese's peanut butter cup and shut up. Yeah. All right, Rob Fazio, a little more to this.